Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Media Mall podcast. Today, we're happy to welcome Adam Wiseberg from Wiseberg Law.
It's nice to be here.
Welcome to the show, sir. So tell me a bit more about yourself and your business.
Sure. Well, I'm a lawyer. I cut my teeth in Japan. I graduated from law school in Ottawa, and then I did a Master's of Law in the UK, after which I went to Tokyo, and I practiced there for from 2000 to 2008, and I practiced with big firms, doing big firm law, $500 million transactions. We relocated. I got married in Tokyo. We had a daughter in Tokyo, and I relocated, and my wife and daughter came with me and live in Ottawa right now.
Ottawa?
Yeah. And since 2013, I started my own practice. I've been a sole practitioner. And I do business law, and I do real estate law, much more modest, no more $500 million transactions.
Tell me more about that Japan thing, though. That's super interesting.
Okay.
Did you have to practice in Japanese? Or?
No. If I had to practice in Japanese, I wouldn't have a job. It's the English language that they were looking for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do transactions get written up in English?
So I worked for a firm called Nishimura and Asahi, and a transaction, and before that I worked for a firm called Atsumi and Usui. At the time, I think it's changed to Atsumi and Partners right now, or Atsumi and Associates. I don't know. The type of law, or I did transactional work, and it would invariably involve. It went through Tokyo because either there were Tokyo investors, or it was a Tokyo company, or a Tokyo originator, but there were deal partners in the UK or in the US, and so it always involved a multiplicity of lawyers from various jurisdictions.
Yes.
And the deals that I worked on were exclusively in English. So anything that came in the English language would usually come across my desk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it still like that, like worldwide?
I wouldn't know.
No?
I couldn't speak to anywhere else or any other time. I don't know. At the time in Tokyo, that's what it was.
English was the main business language.
No, I didn't say it. No. The work that I did,
Required English.
So of all the work that was done, all the work that's done in Japan, most of it is going to be in Japanese, of course, right? But there is a good percentage of it that's done in English.
Okay.
And those transactions involving lawyers from common law jurisdictions would require a common law lawyer in a Japanese law firm.
Gotcha.
to handle the work as well.
All right. And what type of business do you practice now? What type of services?
Well, right now, it's again, it's not the $500 million transactions. It's a little bit more modest. I focus on real estate, which is pretty. It's getting people in and out of houses and doing it ethically and doing it so that the dollar amounts. My trust ledger matches to the penny.
Yes.
So the title is clear and everyone has peace of mind that the transaction was done properly. And then I do business law, and again, we're looking at smaller transactions, the sale of a local business, the purchase of a local business, shareholder agreements, that type of work.
Wills.
Well, wills is something else. I do wills as well. That's solicitor work. Wills in the States, I do wills as well. But again, the two, if I'm to choose two right now, if I'm to choose three, let's put it that way. If I'm to choose three, it's solicitor work, it would be business, real estate, and wills.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, and I know you probably can't talk about specifics, but is there a time that somebody came to you with a problem and they could have avoided that problem if they would have met with you before, encountering that problem? Is there a situation like that?
So yeah, of course, the answer is yes. Otherwise, there would be no need for lawyers. The answer is yes. In real estate, not really. In real estate, most people, I'd say almost everybody, the work of a real estate lawyer is very technical and very specific, and either you know it or you don't, and most people don't know it. So no one does anything in real estate. You can't transfer title without a lawyer. You need a lawyer, and no one knows what to do absent a lawyer. Sometimes people will try and tell me what they think I should be doing.
Yes.
But I tell them what I should be doing.
Is it possible to transact without a lawyer?
It's not.
You need a lawyer to register the title?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The lawyers are subject to an ethical standards, and I believe you're a realtor. I believe realtors are as well.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, you say of course. Not everyone is, and most most people I imagine wouldn't be in profession, in regular,
And they're given professions.
in any given profession, right? But lawyers are held to a very high ethical standard. So with that level of, I mean, of course, subject to certain exceptions, because there's going to be unethical people in every walk of life, but generally lawyers are held to ethical standards and are trusted to maintain the registry that is, by which the province of Ontario gives and transfers deeds of lands.
Gotcha.
So you need a lawyer to transact. But the question you asked me before was, have I encountered? Well, I don't know. It was
for me.
Have people come to me thinking?
Yeah, thinking they knew something, and then if they would have went to you sooner, you could have fixed their problem.
Well, yeah.
Easily.
And I'm certainly not going to mention any names, but I have a client. He's a very intelligent person and a very sophisticated person, and we were having a discussion, and the discussion was, it was a business-related question, and he thought he knew the answer and was talking down to me because he thought he knew the answer. And the issue that we were discussing was, if someone takes on or purchases a business and there are existing employees in the business, what happens to those employees? And he says, well, you just fire them before you make the transfer, and then rehire them after.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
It sounds great. It sounds fantastic, because then you wouldn't have to worry about severance. Every purchaser could get all the employees they want, free of any concerns about severance. The only problem is, and I think it's Section 9 of the Employment and Standards Act, which says you can't do that. It expressly says you can't do that.
Doesn't work that way.
No, because we protect employees' rights.
Yeah.
So if you have an employee who worked with you for 10 years, and then the owner wants to sell the business, just because the owner wants to sell the business, that person doesn't lose their 10-year tenure.
So how does that work? You assume the
vendor would have to assume the employees
with their hourly wage or salary.
The question is, it comes down to severance pay, right? Who's responsible for severance? That's the real issue, right?
Gotcha.
And then there's, you can calculate what an estimate of severance would be, and that should be factored into the purchase price.
Okay.
Yeah, but in any event, so he was rather smug. He says, of course, you know what you do, Adam. You just fire them before and you rehire them after the purchase. And I said, no, you don't.
Sounds a bit too simple.
Yeah. I said, no, you don't. And he said, and he kind of, when I showed him the act, he said, oh shit, I've done like 25 transactions already.
Oh, geez.
So, and of course, I'm not going to mention any, but things like that happen all the time, because people don't know. And the thing is, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not, forget, I'm a lawyer, forget about lawyers. Any profession, if you're going to do anything that requires a professional, a realtor or a lawyer, or of course a doctor, go to the professional. Don't guess.
No, exactly.
Don't heal yourself. Don't buy your own land. Go to a professional.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite lawyer TV show? You watch Suits or Better Call Saul?
Oh, I don't watch many lawyer TV shows.
Lawyer.
I do love Better Call Saul.
Yeah, it's such a good show.
I remember before I went to Japan, and even when I was in Japan, I had them shipped over to me. I used to watch The Practice. That was really enjoyable.
The Practice? I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, take a look at it. It's really, really good.
To check that out.
Yep. It was on the same time as Ally McBeal, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
The Practice? I'll have to look that up. So we work in this place called Media Mall.
Yep.
Tell me about a few benefits of working here in this great space.
Well, there are several. The benefits, of course, are I have, what are there, like, there are approximately 20 businesses over here, and each business could be carved into subcategories.
Yes.
So there are a ton of expertised people over here to whom I have access and to whom my clients would have access. So if I have, I've already made introductions. I've had clients who have needed marketing, for example, right? And there are several businesses over here.
Oh, yes.
Which focus on marketing, so I could easily make that referral. So I'm always happy to help out.
Well, we're lucky to have you around here, because I've knocked on your door a few times for advice.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I do. So Yeah, I mean, Media Mall, it's just that collection. Also, the atmosphere here is really very positive.
Yes. Well, thank you everybody for watching. This was Adam Wiseberg from Wiseberg Law. We'll catch you next week with another episode of the Media Mall podcast.